Good day, everybody. I hope that you are well and also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today, we'll be doing our grade kindergarten to 2 English lesson, and we're doing it on personal pronouns. Sorry. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once we've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, and then we're going to select we're going to do grade kindergarten to 2, specifically grade 2. And then we're going to scroll down up until we get to the chapter of personal pronouns. All right. So our chapter is personal pronouns. So we say that our chapter is personal pronouns. Our subject is English language arts. We're doing grade kindergarten to 2. And the lessons that we are going to be focusing on under the chapter of personal pronouns, it is to replace the singular noun with a pronoun. So we're going to replace the singular noun with a pronoun. And then there's another lesson. The second one is going to be where we need to replace the plural noun with a pronoun. And remember, this is a continuation of our previous lesson where we also did personal pronouns. Right? Remember, this is part of the previous lesson. This is a continuation of the previous lesson because on the previous lesson or the chapter we have 6 different lessons. So we're doing 2 in the previous one, we're doing 2 now, and then we're going to do 2 in the next lesson, and then we are moving on. So when it comes to a pronoun, right? A pronoun, it takes the place of a noun. So the pronoun takes the place of a noun. Or it can take the place of nouns. And when we say with noun, a noun or nouns, and then it means that it can either be one person, animal, place, or thing, or it can be more than one person, animal, place, or thing that we are basically describing. So it basically takes the place of the noun or nouns. Can be a singular noun, which refers to one person, one place, or one thing, or it can be a plural noun, which refers to more than one person, place, or thing. And when it comes to a singular pronoun, right? A singular pronoun, it takes the place of a singular noun, meaning that it is one person, one animal, one place, or one thing. And then we have a singular pronoun, right? And a singular pronoun, a plural pronoun. A plural pronoun refers to more than one person, animal, place, or thing. It refers to more than one because now it is two or more. Anything that is two or more. And that is singular and plural. Remember, singular means one, and plural means more than one. It's like saying more than, it's like one girl, two girls, right? So one boy or two boys. One boy, boy alone is singular. But if we say boys, and then it means it is plural because now we're referring to it as more than one. All right. And if we look at the example of a singular pronoun as well as a plural pronoun, right? A singular pronoun, an example of a singular pronoun is Leah. We say Leah liked the book. That is a singular pronoun. So Leah. Leah refers to one person. That is a noun. Leah is a noun. So we say Leah liked the book. The book or book, that is also a noun. Because Leah is, it names a person. The book is a thing, right? But now we need to change this noun into a pronoun. So instead of saying Leah, right, if we change that noun into a pronoun, we can say she. So instead of Leah, we say she. She liked the book, right? It's like a thing. And the book we can change into a pronoun, which can be it. So instead of saying Leah liked the book, which is a noun, we can replace that noun with a pronoun and say she liked it. She She refers to Leah, it refers to book. No problem. You see, when it comes to pronouns, right? These are pronouns. These are singular pronouns. We have singular pronouns, which refers to either one person, one place, or one thing. We are talking about one person. We are talking about one place or one thing, right? And then we use words like I, you, he, she, it, me, him, or her, right? So if we say, let's say, for example, we say Basil took the bus, right? So if we say Basil took the bus, and then instead of saying Basil, we can say he took the bus. Because the word he is a pronoun. And this pronoun, it usually takes the place of a noun. So instead of saying the person's name, we can just say he. If we were to say, for example, Elizabeth plays with her dolls, instead of saying Elizabeth, we can say she, right? That is singular pronouns. But now we also have plural pronouns, and plural pronouns are words like we, you, they, us, or them. It refers to more than one person, more than one place, or more than one thing. That is correct. That is correct. So instead of saying the person's name, you can use words like ye to refer to a boy or a man, she that refers to a girl or a woman, right? So if it is, let's say it is the start of the sentence, right? We say he or she. But now if I'm saying Basil told um Elizabeth, right? Or let's say Basil went with Elizabeth. I'm just making an example, right? So if we say Basil went with Elizabeth, we're going to replace your name with a pronoun. So instead of saying Basil, right, we're going to use the pronoun which is he. So we'll say he went with, instead of saying Elizabeth, we're going to say her. So he went with her. If we say Basil and Elizabeth, if we say Basil and Elizabeth took the ball, right? If we say Basil and Elizabeth took the ball, and then instead of saying he and she, we're going to say they, because now two people doing something, we say they. So now we say they, and now if we know we are talking about the balls, instead of saying the ball, we can say they took it, and it refers to the ball, right? So yes, he for Basil, her for Elizabeth. If we're making mention of two people doing something, we can say they. We can say them. Let's say, for example, it's you and another person, and maybe want to say that me and Nadine is going to the mall. Then you can say we are going to the mall. So the we refers to me and Nadine, right? So that is basically how we replace a pronoun, or let's say how we replace a noun with a pronoun. And that is why we say a pronoun takes the place of a noun. And here we have a few common pronouns. These are singular pronouns, like you refer to I, you refer to you're referring to one other person, he for a boy, she for a girl. It can be anything, like a thing, like a book, like a ball. Sometimes you even say it for animals. Me refer him or her. That is singular pronouns. And then we have plural pronouns, which refers to we, more than one person, You, more than one person. If you're referring to people standing over there, you can say they over there, more than one person, us or them. That is plural pronouns, right? Do you understand so far, or do you want me to explain again? Anybody have any questions before I continue? All right. So now we're going to A plus students.ca, and then we're going to our personal pronoun, and we're going to replace singular nouns with a pronoun. So now singular nouns only referring to one person, one place, or one thing, right? And once again, we can say a pronoun, right? We see the pronoun, it's a word that takes the place of a noun, or it takes the place of nouns. And we say singular pronouns takes the place of singular nouns, like we are making mention of one person, one place, or one thing, right? And then we have singular pronouns, which is I, you, he, she, it, me, him, and her. All right, so now we're going to complete the sentence with the best pronoun. It says Mrs. Hunt went fly fishing in Montana or in Montana last summer. Mrs. Hunt went fly fishing in Montana last summer. Do we say her instead for Mrs. Hunt? Do we say her went fly fishing, or do we say she went fly fishing? Which one is correct? Do we say her went fly fishing in Montana or Montana last summer? Or do we say she went fly fishing in Montana last summer? We need to replace Mrs. Hunt with the best pronoun. Do we say her went fly fishing, or do we say she went fly fishing? Which one is correct? If we look at the sentence, Mrs. Hunt went fly fishing in Montana last summer. Do we say, if we were to replace Mrs. Hunt, do we say her went fly fishing or she went fly fishing? Which one is correct? All right. And if we were to choose the correct pronoun, right, to replace Mrs. Hunt, and then we're going to say she went fly fishing in Montana. We're going to say she went fly fishing in Montana last summer, right? So she is our pronoun that replaces the noun, which is Mrs. Hunt, right? Let's look at the next one. It says, the parade. The parade is coming down our street now. So the parade is coming down our street now. If we were to replace the parade with a pronoun, do we say it is coming down our street now? Or do we say he is coming down our street now? Which one is correct? Referring to the parade, we need to replace the word parade. Do we say it is coming down our street or he is coming down our street? Which one is correct? Which one is correct? All right. And if we were to choose the correct one, we will say the parade. Instead of saying the parade, we can say it. We can say it is coming down the street, and it refers to the parade. All right, let's do one more and then we're going to our test. It says last week we made a honey cake for Mr. Huber or Herber or Haber. Last week we made a honey cake for Mr. Haber. We need to replace Mr. Haber with a pronoun. So when we say Mr. Haber, do we say last week we made a honey cake for her? Or do we say last week we made a honey cake for him? We need to replace Mr. Haber with her or him. Which one is correct? And if we were to replace Mr. Haber with our correct pronoun, we can say him. So last week we made Mr. Honey, we made a honey cake for him. And him refers to Mr. Haber. All right. Now we're going to our test. And we're going to replace a singular noun with a pronoun. We need to complete the sentence with the best pronoun. It says, Miss Hodge goes running every morning before school. Miss Hodge goes running every morning before school. So, Miss Hodge, we need to replace Miss Hodge with a pronoun. Do we say she goes running every morning before school? Or do we say her goes running every morning before school? Which one is correct? We need to replace Miss Hodge. Do we say she or do we say her? Which one is correct? So which one is correct? We need to replace Miss Hodge. Instead of saying Miss Hodge goes running every morning before school? Do we say she goes running or her goes running? Which one is correct? Option one or option two? All right, and if we were to choose the correct one, then we will choose option one and say she goes running every morning before school. Well done. She is correct. The next one says, just for fun, I made my brother a fuzzy hat. We need to replace the word my brother, right? The noun my brother. Do we say just for fun, I made him a fuzzy hat, or I made his a fuzzy hat? Which one is correct? Option one or option two? Do we say I made him, option one, a fuzzy hat, or option two, I made his a funny hat? If you made something for your brother, do you say I made him one, or do you say I made his one? Once again, it says, just for fun, I made my brother a fuzzy hat, right? I made my brother a funny fuzzy hat. So now, if I'm going to replace my brother, I'm going to say, just for fun, do I say I made him a fuzzy hat, or do I say I made his a funny hat, fuzzy hat? So, which means that we are going to say I made my brother, which means that I made him, right? You made him one. So, well done. Option one is correct. The next one says, even Mr. McCoy doesn't know how the computer works. We need to replace Mr. McCoy with the correct pronoun. So it says, even Mr. McCoy doesn't know how the computer works. So if we replace the noun Mr. McCoy, do we say, even he doesn't know how to work the computer or how the computer works? Or do we say, even him, Mr. McCoy, must now doesn't know how the computer works? So even he doesn't know how the computer works, option one, or even him don't know how the computer works. Which one is correct? Even he or even him? So it's option one or option two. All right, let's choose option one. It says even he doesn't know how the computer works. Well done. Let's do the last one and then we're going to the plural nouns. It says Bill. We need to replace Bill. Bill pushed the button and the elevator doors opened. So if we replace Bill, do we say he pushed the button and the elevator door opened, or do we say him pushed the button and the elevator doors opened? Which one is correct? And if we were to choose the correct one, we can say he pushed the button and the elevator doors opened. So well done, he is correct. Now we're going on to replacing the plural noun with a pronoun. We need to replace the plural noun with a pronoun. And remember, we said a plural noun or plural is a word that takes the place of a plural noun. And the most common plural nouns are we, you, they, us, and them. Those are plural pronouns, sorry. All right, so here it says, before that trip, Bella and I had never seen a whale. So before that trip, Bella and I had never seen a whale. So we need to replace Bella and I. Do we say before that trip, we had never seen a whale? You had never seen a whale. They had never seen a whale. Us had never seen a whale, or them had never seen a whale. We need to replace Bella and I. Which one is correct? All right. And if we replace Bella and I, the noun Bella and I with the pronoun, and then we can say before that trip, before that trip, we, it refers to Bella and I, had never seen a whale. We had never seen a whale, right? So we, it refers to, oopsie, it refers to Bella and I. We, because we is a pronoun also. All right, here we going on to the next one. Elephants, elephants, more than one elephants. Elephants have long trunks for smelling and drinking. Do we say they have long trunks for smelling and drinking, or do we say them have long trunks for smelling and drinking. We need to choose between these two pronouns. Elephants, right? Do we say elephants have long trunks for smelling and drinking? So if we replace the word elephants, do we say it's they have long trunks for smelling and drinking? Or do we say them have long trunks for smelling and drinking? Which one is correct? All right. And if we replace the word elephants, we can say they. We say they have long trunks for smelling and drinking. And they refers to the elephants. Well done. They are correct, or is correct. So after the storm, the bridges in the city. So after the storm, the bridges in the city closed down. So after the storm, the bridges in the city closed down. So the bridges in the city, do we say it is they closed down? Or do we say them closed down? Which one is correct? They closed down or them closed down? All right, and if we choose the correct one, we said after the storm, they closed down. They refers to the bridges in the city. All right, so now we're going to the test. We're going to our test where we're going to replace the plural noun with a pronoun. It says, sometimes Laura feeds them apples, which refers to the horses. Or do we say sometimes Laura feeds they apples? If we refer to the horses, if we replace the noun or horses, do we say sometimes Laura feeds them apples or sometimes Laura feeds they apples? Which one is correct? Option one or option two? So which one is correct? And if we choose the correct one, we can say sometimes Laura feeds them apples, and them refers to the horses. them. Miss McDaniel. Miss McDaniel's tell Zach and me about some good books. So if we replace Zach and me, do we say option one, Miss McDaniels tells us about some good books, or Miss McDaniels tells we about some good books? Which one is correct? Option one or option two? And if we were to choose the correct option, we can say Miss Daniels tells us about some good books. Us. All right. The next one says, even in the summer. So, even in the summer, those mountains had snow. So, even in the summer, those mountains had snow. So, we need to replace those mountains. Do we say, even in the summer, they had snow? Or do we say, them had snow? And if we were to choose the correct option, we can say, even in the summer, they had snow. So those mountains refers to they. All right, let's do the last one. It says, Ted hopes to see whales in the sea. We need to replace the word whales with the pronoun. Do we say Ted hopes to see them in the sea, or Ted hopes to see them in they in the sea? So them or they. All right, and if we were to choose the correct one, we say Ted hopes to see them in the sea, and them refers to the whales. All right, so this is now the end of our lesson on personal pronouns. We said a pronoun, we said a pronoun, it takes the place of a noun, and we add to now we get singular pronouns and we get plural pronouns, right? So we now have to replace the singular, they say the singular noun with a singular pronoun, as well as a plural noun with a plural pronoun, right? All right, so this is the end of our lesson. Thank you very much, grade twos, for joining our class. And I really hope that you are going to have a good weekend. So, till next time, have a good weekend. Goodbye.